good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, former two-time world champion, two-division world champion, turned colorful analyst, now is a podcast host, Paulie the Magic Man Malignaggi. He weighs in on the highly anticipated trilogy between undefeated two-time heavyweight world champion British superstar boxer Tyson the Gypsy King Fury and Olympic bronze medalist, former WBC American heavyweight world champion superstar boxer Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. And Paulie Malignaggi, he had an interesting take regarding Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury's trilogy match. Now, Paulie Malignaggi, he says everybody was anticipating that Anthony Joshua, two-time unified heavyweight world champion British superstar boxer, fellow countryman of Tyson Fury, was going to be the fight. And he believes that Tyson Fury, he started to close the chapter fully on Deontay Wilder. He believes that they weren't just using Anthony Joshua's name and discussing an undisputed showdown and going through contracts and negotiating just to bolster his name and, get fame off of Anthony Joshua's back. So he says he truly believes that Tyson Fury, they had moved on from the Deontay Wilder saga. He says, but Deontay Wilder, he rose back up. He didn't move on. He says, now, here's the thing. He says, after the first fight, it ended in a draw. He says, some people was torn. Some people thought that Wilder should have got the nod because of the two knockdowns. Some people thought that Tyson Fury outboxed Deontay Wilder. And ultimately, the judges saw it as a draw. He says, but in the second fight, Tyson Fury won so decisive that nobody wanted to see a trilogy match. He says, but he would have loved Deontay Wilder to fight the winner of Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, and get an interim fight in between. So Paulie Malignaggi, he says he's been there before facing defeat and trying to bounce immediately back into a big fight. It just doesn't work because it's just in your mental, right? He says it's not about physical, it's all about mental. So he says now Deontay Wilder is going to look like a delusional genius at the end, or he's just going to look delusional. He says, but this is what Paulie Malignaggi had to say. He said he liked the fact that Deontay Wilder, he went straight away into the fight. He says because it just shows that he's somewhat delusional. He don't believe that Tyson Fury is the better fighter. He believes everything he says. So he says that the glove gate, the situation with the water, he says he truly believes that. And that's what a boxer needs. If a boxer has any inkling, he said 1% of doubt, or 1% of doubt that this fighter, a thought that the fighter across the ring from you is better than you, that's way too much. He says, but in this case with Deontay Wilder, he has a new trainer. He truly believes everything he's saying. So he says that delusion can turn out to be genius on the part of Deontay Wilder because it subdued any truth to that Tyson Fury in his mind is just a better fighter. So he says he believes he's going into this fight 100% confident. So Paulie Malignaggi is looking at it as it's a slight slate wave clean, right? He says that he believes that Deontay Wilder is coming in this trilogy match as if it was the first fight because he truly don't believe that Tyson Fury is the better fighter, and it shows that he wanted the immediate rematch. He says the fact that he wanted the immediate trilogy, he says now part of our competitive nature and a part of the warrior spirit in us wants to get back. He says, but when you take a loss in the manner Deontay Wilder took the loss in the second fight, he said most fighters, they will have to deal with it mentally. It's not and psychologically. It's not so much physically. He says, but in this case, Deontay Wilder, he had time off because the fight was so long ago. It was February of 2020. So he says, seeing as though it was so long ago, it was over a year ago, he says he had time, to essentially lick his wounds, so to speak. He says, and on top of it, he truly, truly believes that he was, that he was duped in the fight. He says that he truly believes that Tyson Fury had an edge. He had an unfair advantage. He says, and that's genius on the part of Deontay Wilder. He says that no, most people are not expecting Deontay Wilder to win this fight. He says, and that's another part that makes him genius, because he has simply nothing to lose, but he has all the confidence as if the first two fights never even took place. And so he says there's a strong possibility we could see his delusion turn into absolute genius, or we could see at the end he was just simply delusional and Tyson Fury was the better fighter. So he says that there's a chance that everybody's overlooking Deontay Wilder and looking to Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, undisputed match. He says, I was one of those guys. But now Deontay Wilder has piqued his interest because of his delusion he believes is genius. Him being a former fighter and knowing, you know, what most fighters go through taking losses. He said it was his first loss and it was a bad loss. He says, and you could tell if a fighter has confidence or it's just their competitive nature pushing them into another fight. He says Deontay Wilder is 100% confident going in this fight, and it makes for a very, very interesting showdown because he truly, truly believes that Tyson Fury is not the better fighter and that he can win this fight. So he says his delusion could turn into genius, and we can see absolute dazzling performance on display on the part of Deontay Wilder. I have to agree with Paulie Malignaggi 100% because Deontay Wilder truly, truly, now only he knows. But now we can look at the gloves and we can say, well, the gloves didn't look on the up and up, right? It looked deflated. It looked like a flat tire, okay? That's the right glove. So all of the injuries he sustained was on the left side. So the right glove is going to make most contact with the left side of his face. And you can clearly see the glove look deflated. And in the first fight, you can see the flappy left glove all over the place, bending at a 90-degree angle that is abnormal. So with that said, Deontay Wilder also believes that the situation with the water is a true thing, and only Deontay Wilder knows what he felt like going into the ring, okay? But you can clearly see from the opening bell, he just simply did not look himself. And so with that said, he believes that he is still the fighter prior to two Tyson Fury fights. He believes 100% that he's going to win this trilogy match. And you can see he's broken himself down and decided to go back to the basics to make sure he's the victor going into the trilogy match. You see him using in the sparring sessions, going to the left hand. Now, there's some things that still look to be, that needs to be look more fluid, okay? It still look like he's learning, okay? He's still making little subtle mistakes, like standing straight up at times. But that's only what they're allowing us to see. We don't know what he's fully capable of, okay? And everybody just pushes it off as if he can't box. Not that he's not using it. Again, let me say it again. Everybody pushes it off and writes him off as if he can't box, instead of saying he doesn't box. What he can't do and what he don't do is two different things. Just because he doesn't do it don't mean he can't do it. And so maybe he surprises Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury is a man full of confidence himself, but Tyson Fury may be overconfident, and Tyson Fury may be going in this fight overlooking Deontay Wilder, expecting Deontay Wilder to come in the fight just to deliver power. And Deontay Wilder is looking to come in the fight possibly to be slicker, to be more agile, to be more mobile, to break Tyson Fury down, not to look to land just one right hand. And that can completely surprise Tyson Fury, as Tyson Fury and his trainer Sugar Hill from the Crunk Gym, they believe the late great Emmanuel Stewart, legendary trainer, he believed in coming forward and taking it out the judges' hands and getting knockouts. And Tyson Fury, being such a big guy, packing on the pounds, looking to come forward and pressure Deontay Wilder. If Deontay Wilder is agile, if Deontay Wilder is countering Tyson Fury, if Deontay Wilder is boxing, well, that's going to catch Tyson Fury by surprise. And does Tyson Fury on that night have a plan B? Does he have different levels? Can he make the adjustment if Deontay Wilder out of the blue turns into a boxer that nobody expects. Because you see, Tyson Fury hears he's not a boxer as well. And Tyson Fury, he starts to say, Deontay Wilder can't box. He's a one-trick pony. Well, if Deontay Wilder simply comes in there using his jab, using his athletic ability, using his quickness, and hiding his right hand, well, he just may hit Tyson Fury with a punch he don't see coming. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. Make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section, let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Hi, my name is Heather Vahid Hardy, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.